Salut, I am Peach. We are in the Philippines. Once again, far from the road, far from the city pollution, and far from the motor engine noises. Those two guys are the reason why I wanted to try by myself some wide-angle landscape photography with a foreground. It was not easy. I had to avoid many dangers. I had to walk through difficult paths silently to not wake up anyone. We are in the east coast of Puerto Princesa, Palawan Island in the Philippines, near the Sulu Sea. Because it is summertime, I was expecting clouds over the sea, along with my sunrise for my background. The condition looks good. Now I have to find a foreground. That rock. You would think that landscape is easy and relaxing. My first lesson was that it can be stressful. As soon as I found my foreground, the sun showed up. I was missing already some cool shots of the half sun that was not too bright, with cool orange colors in the clouds. Later I'll talk about the process. For now, here is the first result. And I like it. Things seems in focus. The clouds did a good job. The colors are nice. There is no distraction. I think it's a good start. I came already the day before, by the way, to evaluate the potential. And I took my two favorite photos. I'll show you later. I found a few different kind of foreground this morning, but the next one is also a rock. However, this one is pointing even more straight at the sun. And as you may know, in landscape photography, we are always in search for leading lines. Keep in mind that I do this for the first time since yesterday. I try to get as close as possible to that rock. I try to frame it so it kind of point into the scene. I tilt my X-T5 down, taking advantage of the wide angle. My shutter speed is automatic. My Samyang 12mm is set at f16 and I have a fixed ISO at 160. All I had to do to get a good exposure is to turn the exposure compensation wheel and let my X-T5 calculate the right shutter speed. I also set a 2-second timer. A piece of cake. This photo is okay, but nothing exceptional. Also, those two rocks in the midground are a bit distracting maybe. Now, this is the one I took yesterday, one of my three favorites, a lot more dramatic. The clouds are a lot more moody and the sun is less bright, which I like. Different day, different photo. I find it very powerful that the rock point at the sun, and the clouds are doing an amazing job. The photo is less blue, but it's fine. I think it makes the scene even more dramatic. I may retry and edit in a few days and add more blue. Feel free to tell me what you think about any picture, by the way. Now let's find another foreground. The tripod is a small rig travel tripod in aluminium, 1.1 kilo I think. No central column, so it can go flat on the ground quickly. There is a link of my gears in the description below if you wanna check them out. I tried with those mangrove roots that grow upward, and I learned that they grow upward to get more oxygen, and that it's always a good idea to try different ideas. However, sometimes it doesn't work. Again, I'm looking for foreground, potentially with some leading lines. My background is still fine. The clouds are doing a great job so far, staying here at the right altitude. I wanted to go to the sandbar, but it's a bit further away in the sun direction. I saw some great foregrounds over there, but the tide, even at its lowest, is not matching the sunrise. I'll have to wait a few weeks, so maybe it will be a part 2 of this video. With landscape photography, I guess you need a bit of knowledge, a bit of anticipation, and a lot of luck, patience, good light, and yeah, many things. I will try those mangrove roots as a foreground a bit later. Looking at the sun, it's still between 6 and 6:20 a.m. The tide is going up. It was at its lowest point 1 hour ago. There is a bit of wind, as you can hear. I found that rock with a lot of little shell on it and very much surrounded by water. Again, f16, ISO 160, which is the base ISO of my X-T5. I moved the exposure compensation looking at the Instagram, which is very small, and I try to see if I am not clipping the white too much. And that should give me enough leeway to lift the shadow of the rock in post. My camera is calculating the shutter speed, maybe 1/20th of a second, I don't remember. And this time it's just not working. The rock is ugly, the shell are distracting, no leading line anywhere, the water is messy, the sun is too bright, and the clouds are boring. So I am back on that patch of mud. I found a little corallish rock with oceanic orange and green stuff growing on it. Here I wanted to try my ND filter, but I quickly realized that the ND filter was not dark enough to get my shutter speed open for more than 10 seconds, which would have made my water flat. So I just took a regular photo with my usual settings. And I think it's okay, but not great. Maybe too much buzzy. As Mads and Nigel would say, simplify. We don't really know where to look at in that picture. And there are, of course, all the distracting rocks elements in the midground that are not helping at all. And I am back looking for another foreground, this time a baby mangrove tree. I immediately thought it could be a nice contrasty photo against the bright background. I am focusing somewhere in the middle, by the way. I remember now that the focus should be at 1/3 between you and the horizon to get mostly everything in focus. I also want to point out that Nigel and Mads, the two guys you saw earlier, are using a full frame with a 14mm lens, and I am on a crop sensor with a 12mm, the equivalent of 18mm on a full frame, and that's probably a huge difference regarding to the foreground. I went back to those mangrove roots, a bit submerged into the water, trying to find a nice composition. I realized that my tripod mount was a bit loose and how things could turn bad quickly if you don't pay attention. Here is the result. It was a bit complicated to edit because the background was super bright and the foreground was very dark. With this rock, I tried two different approaches. One from the back, which gave me that dark shape. As I was leaving the scene, I saw the good light hitting the rock, and I tried again, but from the side. Again f16 pointing down, ISO 160. I turn the exposure compensation until I am happy with the brightness. My camera calculates the right shutter speed. I get the timer at 2 seconds. Boom. I did not point directly at the sun this time, and the result seems very natural with great colors. I like that one. Here they are side by side. I feel like there is a lot of dead space here. Maybe I should crop a little bit higher. Two last photos on the way home with the same foreground, one a little bit closer, and another of my favorite one that I took the day before. I hope you enjoyed my little video. Give me a like. Cheers!